Brony James has declared for the 2024 NBA Draft. Could the San Antonio Spurs potentially draft him? Let's talk about it now, Spurs fans.
Go, Spurs, go, 'cause the Giants stink.
What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Thank you to everybody that stopped by the 5-year anniversary. I have all the people that won. Their gifts will go out this weekend. Well, let's talk about this article here, since you guys were talking about it in the live stream last night too. Found this article on Bleacher Report that I wanted to share with you. Could the Spurs potentially be a landing spot for Brony James? While I'm going over the article, drop a comment down below if you think any of the teams mentioned here are the ideal spots. If you think our Spurs are an ideal spot and why, or if you want nothing to do with Brony James. Hit the thumbs up for that sports channel. Subscribe to become part of our awesome Spurs community. Side note, before we get into the article, if the Spurs draft a point guard in round 1, or if they trade for Trae Young, then forget it. They're probably not taking Brony James, but let's entertain the idea for the moment. USC guard Brony James is leaving all options on the table following a disappointing freshman season. The freshman announced Friday he's declaring for the 2024 NBA Draft while maintaining his college eligibility. Friday as in yesterday, if you're watching. James averaged 4.8 points on 36.6% shooting, along with 2.8 rebounds and 2.1 assists in this season. His offseason preparations were adversely impacted after he suffered cardiac arrest. Seems like he's okay, and hope he continues to be. Nothing but best wishes in regards to your health, Bronny. And he never seems to find his footing after debuting 9 games into USC season. In terms of improving his draft position, staying in college is arguably James' best course of action. However, he might prefer falling to the second round or perhaps even going undrafted altogether. Examining his NBA options, these 3 situations make plenty of sense, and he is expected he might go in the second round undrafted. Let's get into it. Number 1, wherever LeBron James is playing, especially if he's undrafted, then that's where he's going to go. We know very well that LeBron wants to play with Bronny before he retires. This is the biggest no-brainer of all. Moving right along. Number 2, the Miami Heat. I did not expect to see them on the list, but Bleacher Report did point out in this article, simply put, no team has been better at player development in recent years than the Miami Heat. They've taken a number of undrafted free agents and NBA castoffs and molded them into solid rotational players. Okay. Well done. Where do the Spurs come into fit here? Well, there they are. There's their guy. There's the franchise. Despite what the San Antonio Spurs record says, you could do much worse than hitching your wagons to Victor Wembanyama. As they continue building a roster around the presumptive Rookie of the Year, I think he will be Rookie of the Year at this point. I think it's just locked and loaded at this point. Chet's been hitting a wall. Wemby's still been playing great. And the Spurs are actually winning some games lately, so I think the Rookie of the Year is going to Wemby. Anyway, point guard is likely to be near the top of the Spurs offseason wish list. Yes, via the draft or trading for Trae Young. Absolutely, that's got to be, I think, right up there, right up here. San Antonio could opt for a veteran addition as a stopgap to accelerate both Wemby's development and its timeline to becoming a contender. In that scenario, James will be positioned as the long-term successor at the point, who would ideally slot right into the starting role after 2 or 3 years. Could this stopgap veteran possibly be LeBron James? Because if Bronny ends up being drafted by the Spurs in the second round, and I think if we were going to use a pick on him, it's got to be second round, or maybe he comes to the Spurs undrafted. This was play along here just for the sake of this article and this video. If Bronny was to come to the Spurs, my first concern would be I'd have concerns about his health. I'm hoping that's no longer an issue, but it would still be a small concern there. I would hate to have a bad situation happen with him on the court with San Antonio. I'd hate to have it happen anywhere, of course. He didn't play particularly well with the USC. Is he even worth a second rounder? And if you're taking Bronny in the second round, then the expectation is LeBron is going to want to come to the Spurs. And how is that going to work, Spurs fans? I'm not overly familiar with the CBA and the rules with minimums in regards to veterans. LeBron's set to make $51 million next season. It's a player option, so he could leave the Lakers if he wishes. I don't think he's going to, but again, we're just devil's advocate here. We're playing along. Would he take a pay cut to play in San Antonio, and could he under the CBA? And if he could, okay, so be it. Would he want to? The opportunity to play with his son, be coached by Pop, and pass the torch on to Wemby? That does make an intriguing situation. He's got enough money. He doesn't need money. He doesn't. I mean, with the money he's made in the NBA, endorsements, this, that, and the other, he's a millionaire many, many, many times over. So would it be worth it? I don't know. If I was in his situation, possibly. I think it could be in that scenario. I really do, because you get one, play with your son, which we absolutely know he wants to do. That's uno numero number one. Number two, though, I think I've heard from you guys that he would want to play for Pop at some point, and LeBron James' career window, like how much time he's got left in his career, is obviously closing very quickly. So that could be a huge factor, and then just a chance to pass the torch. LeBron has generally been considered the best player in the NBA in the last 2 decades. Sure, he could RB and Kobe and Tim and point to that, but as far as just consistency, it's been LeBron. And the general consensus is Wemby could be the next guy to be the face of the NBA. Could be. As Spurs fans, we certainly feel that way. Others are going to say no, it's going to be this player, that player, but we feel like Wemby could be the next face of the NBA because of just the incredible things he can do on both ends of the court. And imagine, just what a nice story that would be, and what a great way to end your career, to pass the torch, much like David Robinson did to Tim Duncan, LeBron passing the torch to Wemby, being on the same team. And who knows, maybe if LeBron plays for 2 more years or 3 more years, could they be a legit playoff contender? I don't know. It's an interesting story to follow. Do I see the Spurs drafting in the second round? My personal 2 cents at the end of this, honestly, I have no idea. At this point, Brian Wright has me scratching my head. I mean, the Victor Wembanyama draft pick was the obvious one, but the other stuff that he's been doing, at some points I look at him like, I don't really understand why I did that, but then when I look at the big picture and the draft capital we accumulated and then getting Wemby, and then just looking towards the future, having a top pick again in this upcoming draft, and seeing the team right now in the last 5 games play maybe some of their best basketball of the year. We're playing some good teams and missing a lot of players. Devin out for the year. Jeremy out for the year. Kelman seems to be out for the year. These are supposed to be the 3 best players on the team after Wemby. And we've been winning, or at least competitive, without all 3. The team is learning how to win. The team is learning how to compete. And that's a good thing going into next season as we bring in probably a starter through the draft, maybe a starter through trade, whatever it may be. The Spurs are headed in the right direction. My only concern is if they do draft Bronny and they do bring LeBron in, would that slow the growth of the players around Wemby? Because you have 2 guys that have a very high usage rate in Wemby and LeBron, that the offense flows through them. And now if you bring LeBron in, is the offense going to flow through LeBron? Or is LeBron going to say, hey, I'm your point guard. I'll get you, point forward, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to defer to you. The offense will flow through Wemby. And LeBron is a smart guy. I think in that situation, maybe he would defer and just say, hey, this is your team. I'm just here to play with my son and maybe win one more championship. I don't know. That's all I got. It's such a fun time to be a Spurs fan because I see this team coming together. I see players stepping up. I see Wemby doing phenomenal things on both ends of the court. And we have a lot to look forward to. And we have a championship, I think, in our future. Hope you're having a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, go Spurs, go.
Ready, to Wembley.